Thank you for joining us for another episode of K&K Real Talk. Today I have our founder of Rebel Rags here with us. Her name is Sarah. Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Great. Well, I'm Sarah, and I am the owner of Mensadora with our program Rebel Rags, and we make reusable period and bladder care, and we've started a rebellion. With our rebellion, we're basically looking to change the way people think about periods and bladder care protection. We are finding ways to remove disposables out of our lives, and this is one of the best ways not only to protect ourselves medically and environmentally, but it also is a way for us to create real solutions and not just bandage problems to period poverty. Reusable pads eliminate a lot of the dangers that endo users suffer with. There's been a lot of studying that some main chemicals in the disposable pads are things like phthalates and dioxins, mercury, glyphosate, and these are all going into that sensitive vagina and uterus areas. And I mean, people that have endo, or any sort of medical condition, the last thing you need is more transdermal chemicals coming inside you. The issue with pads is they're actually considered medical devices in Canada and in a lot of countries across the world. And the problem is because they are medical devices, they don't actually need to list the ingredients in. So we don't even know what is actually in these products that we're using. Some main things that these products do with the chemicals I just listed, including rayon and synthetic fragrances, is it's a hormone disruptor. It absorbs transdermally through that really sensitive tissue. It's linked to all kinds of different cancers, and including like xenoestrogens. But the other thing too is that these chemicals actually convert blood to gel. So on disposable products, the blood or the urine moves in the pad from end to end. So this actually creates a gel, and your body is absorbing these sort of things. Not to mention that people on disposables often find that their periods last longer, they have other symptoms, and a lot of times they involve a lot more pain and discomfort, especially with some of the tampons and things like that. Again, we're using unregulated or untested products inside and on the outside of some very sensitive tissue. There's three main factors switching from disposables to reusables. The first is the environmental factor. That's an easy given, right? Like the government in Canada here believes we use 256 pads a year, which I believe is completely unrealistic. Most of our testing we've done has proven that that's about a third of
way more.
Yeah, of what people use, right? So it's more like we're around the lines of like 16,000 to 20,000 periods per whole lifetime. So environmentally, that's a lot of plastic waste for our landfills, but that's also going down our sewer systems as well, causing all kinds of other issues. The other thing too is there is that medical component, which we've just talked about. There's a lot of chemicals in pads, and also because they're unregulated, we don't really know what they're even doing to our bodies. Then there's the social impact. Again, period poverty is huge across Canada, across the world. There's girls that aren't going to school or people that can't go to work because they don't have any protection. During my time, I lived in Vietnam, and I was working with this incredible female Buddhist monk called Sister Vi. And Sister Vi was working on a program where she actually was going to rural communities to help the women use reusables, because if they didn't have that, they were using straw or grass or nothing at all. And I don't think this is very a unique situation. Here in London, where we are founded, we actually did a ton of interviews with people, and they are even reusing tampons. They are washing them out, drying them, and reusing them because they have no access to period care, or very limited access. After leaving Vietnam, we actually went and stayed in the Yucatan jungle. We were working in an off-grid eco-village, and again, we saw the women of the country using reusable products. And it's because of the fact that you get them once. My pads last at least 7 years. They're machine wash and dry, no chemicals, and you always just have it. So this is where that social impact comes in, because with reusables, you never have to worry about 4 or 5 pads at the food bank, or borrowing some You always have everything you need ahead of time. So that really changes someone's self-esteem, and that changes their self-worth. So reusable pads are really easy. They've been around forever. It wasn't until 1921 that we kind of switched over to disposables, and it was nurses in the field of a battle started using cotton and straw as protection, and then it just kind of graduated from there. And Johnson & Johnson was the first company to actually produce a pad. But my pads are, so this is our super. We got 3 different sizes: a super, a regular, and a panty liner. And we use natural material. So this is the side that your fluid, either your urine or your blood, would go on, and it's black, so it's non-staining, so it kind of takes out the ick factor. And then we have fun prints on the outside, and then internally we use a bamboo fleece and flannel core, and this is the key component to reusable. So regardless if you get reusables from Rebel Rags or whoever else, you need to have this component, and this is PUL, and it is basically a laminated poly cotton, and it's 100% leak proof, and it's used on the outside of baby diapers. So this is what's in all of my pads. Yeah, absolutely. And when you want to look for pads, the key is you don't want something that's serged around the edge. So serging is kind of like the inside of our seams. It's cheap, it's easy, but it doesn't last. And there's a lot of organizations and companies that do that. So with these Rebel Rags, we actually sandwich it all together and we top stitch. So if you have sensory issues or anything like that, you're not going to have a problem with these. When you're out and about, transition is super easy. Let's say it's dirty. You simply fold it in on itself like this, and it just snaps together like a nice little package. And you can either put it in like a wet bag. So this is a wet bag, and this just has the same kind of PUL inside. Or as another option, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, or you really don't need anything, because the thing with reusables is there's zero smell. This is the other problem with disposables. A lot of people really get that.
So smelly.
Yeah, and that is the chemical converting blood to gel or urine to gel. And these don't have that. So you can carry these around and no one would even notice.
And they are super soft. I've tried a couple of different reusable pads. I don't have my period anymore, but I use them for bladder leakage here and there. And they are by far the softest feeling pad that I've tried. Most of them kind of feel a bit coarse inside, which isn't really comfortable, being that skin's the largest organ that we have, and the skin on your vagina is not only way more sensitive than the rest of your skin, it's a lot more absorbent.
Absolutely.
Than the rest of your skin.
Yeah, and that's really what a lot of our feedback was on our particular pads. Is that it just feels like you're wearing underwear. We don't really use a super long one. I don't believe it's necessary because ours is so absorbent. And it just feels like nothing. You can wear them prior to your period. You can wear them, some women just wear them as discharge. Also, we serve a lot of the transgender community because this is another way that they don't have to worry about the embarrassment of having to go get pads and deal with that. Then they're always right there with them. The other thing too is that we with these we sell a lot to soon-to-be menstruators, and parents are getting it for them so that they can wear it ahead of time because it wears like underwear, to eliminate the possible embarrassment about what happens if you get it while you're like at school. And they wash up incredibly well. Some people really like to monitor their blood, so we do make it with a natural color as well if someone wants to monitor their color.
Which is funny because that's another part of like the period shame and the stigma, is that we don't want to look at our own blood.
Exactly.
Which it's coming out of us. Like, I know that I always looked at it and like, because I have had endo for a while, I would see like was there clots or like just like your period actually tells you so much about what's going on in your body.
Absolutely.
So, and as a woman, you're gonna get your period unless you're on birth control or something. Most women have periods, and it's just a part of life. So why are we so embarrassed about it? Still in the 21st century, we're still embarrassed. It's happened to women forever.
Well, and that's one of the things where like Rebel Regs, really our program, we came up with the names because, you know, it's like that old slang, she's on her rag. And it's almost rebellious now to use cloth pads, but I bet most of our grandparents use cloth pads, right? Like this is what they did. And it was definitely not as pretty, as fun, and as easy to use. Like these just literally snap on your, totally, right? Like, and they were made of different kinds of fibers. And these just snap on, right? Just like a regular kind of wing pad, but they're not gonna damage your underwear like the adhesives. And then these are machine wash and dry.
And they stay a lot better.
They do. They don't
clips
budge
around the underwear rather than just kind of like sticking on it.
Absolutely, yeah. And then if you don't have access to a machine to wash and dry, you can hand wash them. And then we sell these snap systems where it's just like attaches to a coat hanger or it attaches to a shower curtain and you can just hang to dry. So you're not trying to like precariously balance stuff and get it to dry. But, you know, it's an easy transition for people to switch over to reusables. Most people only need a couple times to get a hang of it. Some main questions I get is like, how long or how often do you change it? Well, basically, you would change it the same amount of time as you would disposables. If it's feeling damp or moist down there, you're gonna change it.
Yeah.
You know, and most people can get away with around 9 pads. Financially, and as we go back to talking about the social component, financially, you spend roughly around $80 to $150 a year, depending on what your cycle is, and even more if you are buying it for bladder, because bladder care protection is super expensive, where we sell a complete starter set for $157, and they will last you 7 years. So that's huge.
It may, like $170, maybe that sounds like a lot all at once, but it's saving you so much money and aggravation in the long run.
For sure. And what some people do is they build their stash. Not everyone can afford that sort of money, so they might buy a couple pads, you know, maybe they'll buy a couple supers for just the nighttime use and then just slowly build up. But for those that are really struggling, this is why we have our program Rebel Regs. So we do sell through Mensadora our pads, but we created Mensadora to support Rebel Regs. Rebel Regs actually believes in dignity for all beings, and this year alone, we're set to donate 5,000 pads to local people. And last year we donated over 1,500, and we have just started. So for us, we want to make sure that we are getting our information out to people so that they understand that there's an opportunity for them to get these subsidized or given to them through various organizations. Now, Rebel Regs is also part of a program that we're starting to hopefully get in connection with FemCare in Hamilton, and working from Hamilton, Toronto, and London to get into grade 7 and 8 schools. And we're going to teach them how to sew, and we're going to teach them how to make their own pads so that every single girl leaving grade 8 will have their own set of reusable pads. And then that's going to stop this trend of period poverty as we're still trying to deal with the people that are still suffering and still struggling. For me, I know what period poverty is like. I was putting myself through university, and at that time, I had to choose to feed my son or to get pads. So I'm super passionate about this and really going to take on the government with this. And this is one of the reasons why we are pushing our social mandate so much. Because, you know, especially your viewers, anyone suffering from endo, you should be using reusables because you're not adding any other additional stress to that area through chemical
system.
Exactly. We are going to be starting a new thing to celebrate International Women's Day. We're actually going to be posting a change.org, and we're looking for signatures, because if we can get 10,000 signatures, I can take it to the federal government and we can really try to push reusables as the solution and not disposables for local individuals. We're also doing a GoFundMe, but this GoFundMe is very special because, you know, we just were able to celebrate Tampon Tuesday, and it was great that people were donating pads and tampons, but they're disposables. We are running the GoFundMe so that if someone is interested in donating for reusables, we are using that money, and we don't make any money off of it. It's strictly at cost for these products to get to local individuals or individuals in need, so that this way we can really start to donate even more. One of the main things we try to do is get out to great organizations like the one that you're running so that people can really understand that they're out there, because a lot of people don't even know that reusables exist.
Mhm.
A lot of people think that they're, really just earthy or hippie or,
Exactly,
all of
yeah.
that stuff, but real people can benefit from these, and they're game changers. They are absolutely game changers on the way that you'll do your period. And this is a way that we kind of take our rebellion. This is why we say join the rebellion, be part of a movement that is actually making change. And our goal is to be able to provide worldwide donations and worldwide support and period shaming, and really taking the movement to the next level. There's a lot of really great organizations that are trying to, support social mandate that make reusable pads. They're very different than ours. And, a lot of them help, other countries, which is great. But for us, we're really tackling legislation and getting it done that way. And then that way it just becomes a standard.
Standardizing period care.
Exactly.
I like it. And that is another reason why I love Rebel Regs for their reusables. Not only just because you're making the reusables, there are other companies that do that as well, but it's the social aspect that you are really pushing for, getting it noticed by the government, giving it to people who are in need. Anytime someone buys Rebel Regs, someone who is in need gets some as well. Like, that is amazing. I'm like so honored to interview you at like the ground floor. Basically, you're just starting to get going, and I can see huge things in the future. And I hope that me and my viewers can help you get the 10,000 signatures that you need and move it so that reusable is a solution and we don't have to use products filled, and I do mean filled, with chemicals and put them in such sensitive areas. And I'm in awe of what you're doing, and I love it.
If you're interested in giving Rebel Regs a try and helping support our movement, you go to rebelregs.ca. You can get some information, or the Facebook page. We're going to run a contest.
Yes, we are running a contest. So if you like both of our pages, you have to like each page, comment what do you call your vagina, and share this video to be entered to win a set of pads.
Yeah, so we have a starter set that we're going to be donating. It's worth $160. Our starter set has 2 panty liners, so 2 of these and 5 of these and 2 of these, and then you also get a wet bag and a strap, and you get to customize it. You get to pick your fun fabric, you get to pick if you want black or white, and all you have to do is like and share. Join the rebellion.
Join the rebellion.